speakers have been talking about. Everybody wants to make a lot of money. People want to create wealth. They want to build wealth. They want to have a kind of money which will give them financial freedom. But it's never articulated. We don't know at what amount of money we will feel happy, at what amount of money we'll feel free, at what amount of money we'll be contented. And hence we keep chasing that illusionary number, and then we feel that we don't have it. But if you have not defined, imagine if I was to board a train which is going from Mumbai to Kolkata, and it's going to stop at various places, but I don't know which station I want to get down. What will happen? At every station there is this anxiety. Do I get down here? Do I go ahead? I mean, there'll be some passengers who will be going ahead, some passengers may just get down before me, and some would know where to get down exactly. And I mean, these are different situations. As a speaker, as a writer, as an author, as a planner, practicing planner, we keep getting these questions from people. Is it a good time to buy, sell, and hold? And these are typical questions that comes. And why does that come? Because people don't know why they had invested in that particular thing. The moment you are clear that why you have invested in one particular company or one particular mutual fund or a fixed deposit or a recurring deposit, you would never have that question, because you are very clear that my investment in this particular financial instrument or a particular asset class is to achieve my particular goal, my particular responsibility, my particular dreams. Today morning when I was coming to the airport, the taxiwala asked me, and people who are familiar with Mumbai would know that Mumbai now has two airports. One is a domestic airport and second is what we call T2, which is for international. And he said, so I told him, airport jana hai. So he's saying, kaun se airport? I said, yaar, koi bhi airport le lo. And the guy turns around, he said, nahi sahab, bataiye matlab kahan jana hai? He thought I didn't understand. I said, मैंने बताया ना कोई भी airport ले लो. And then he thought probably there's something wrong with this guy. So it's just that I never tell everybody about that secret. But then I said domestic airport. He took it. But I said, अगर मैं नहीं पता था तो क्या करते थे आप? He said, sir, फिर तो मैं international airport ले जा रहा था क्योंकि वो लंबा है, मुझे अच्छा भाड़ा मिलता. Right? So please write this down. People who don't work for their goals work for somebody else's goals. And that's what always happens. All of us have not defined our goals. And because we have not defined our goals, we are working for somebody else's goals. And we are continuously doing that. If you're doing a job, you're probably working for your boss or a corporate's goal. If you're in business, you're probably working for your client or customer's goal. If you are an investor, if you are somebody who's saving and investing money, but if you have not defined, then probably you are working for that agent's goal of earning more commission. We anyway, all of us work also to pay taxes, which is government's goal, but we also have to pay taxes. I mean, this country has given a lot to us. But this is what happens. And it's perfectly all right to go into a situation where we are working for our goal as well as somebody else's goals. But getting into a situation where we are just working for somebody else's goal is always going to leave us frustrated, irritated, upset, and that's what happens because we are always looking at external condition. We are not looking at our internal condition, our requirement. And that's what yogic wealth is. Look within. Look at your own self. Look why you are saving, whether it's for bliss, whether it's for happiness, or whether it's like materialistic things that you want and it's perfectly fine, or even your basic necessities. I mean, the slides that you are seeing here are the easiest way to make list of your financial goals. Just go home today and take a picture with your family. I mean, you can take a selfie or my daughter calls it family fee or cool fee or I don't know, whatever that you call. Just take that picture with your family and that's what you are seeing, different slides. Please do this. And then once you have that picture, either electronically or actually, take a printout and put those small notes around it. What are those responsibilities and dreams for which you want to make money? And keep looking at it on regular basis, daily basis. Put that photograph in a manner that entire family can look at it and see the kind of commitment that you will have. whole family's commitment. Invariably, I see parents complaining, or I see wives complaining, saying, or husbands complaining, family's involvement is not there. Family's commitment is not there. Yes, ma'am, please take a picture. All of you, please take this picture. I'm perfectly fine. And also a recommend, a kind of offer that if you all were to send me a family photograph to my email ID, just ask my email ID, and send me your goals, I'll kind of make this and send it back to you. But just restrict it to there, because there was somewhere else I was talking and the person sent me the entire balance sheet and said, make a financial plan, which obviously I will not. But if you all want to do this, the only thing is try and send it to me within a week and say that ET Money Gurukul Cochin event. And please send me a lovely family photograph and all your goals, and we'll try and put in one of these slides and send it back to you. And take a printout and please kind of put it wherever you can see. This is your one-page financial goal. That's why you're working, that's why you're struggling hard, that's why you want to save and invest money. Just do that and you will feel more happy, because after that, all your financial decisions will be based on this particular picture. This is the picture of your life. This is the reason why you're working so hard. But you know why we don't make list of financial goals? People who have not put their hands up, just try doing that activity. Sit down and make a list of financial goals in next 2 to 3 days and see how mind behaves. It will not let you do it. Mind will come up with all possible excuses. I can go on and on giving list of reasons why people don't make. All those are reasons, procrastination. And what are the reasons mind gives? I don't have so much money right now. Let me just make enough money and then I'll do it. Or, let this union budget pass by. Let's see if government is giving some specific offers. Or anyway, now financial year is coming to an end. Let me begin with new financial year. Or this summer vacation, I see a lot of people smiling. Yes, sir, that's what happens. I mean, yes. And that's what keeps happening. I'm telling you practically, we face that situation. There are resistances. And then, in fact, in my office, we insist that a husband-wife couple comes together. And then we give them a separate sheet of paper. And see what, what happens? I tell them that I take up the responsibility for this particular argument. Both of them have a separate sheet. Both of them have different list of responsibilities and dreams. Even if the list is same, the priorities are different. Or the amount of money that's required is different. Isn't it the most weird thing that happens? What are we talking about? We are talking about couple or a family trying to achieve the financial goals, the responsibilities and dreams together without knowing what are those and without getting into a situation whereby either of them know what other person is thinking of. And yet we say we don't. So all those, when Mr. Rao spoke so well and all my earlier speakers about deciding financial goals, how many people in the audience did not know that there is an importance of having financial goals? Anybody here said, oh, I didn't know that you have to make something like financial goals? Anybody? No, everybody knew it. And only 5 or 7% of hands went up. And you know why? Because mind creates havoc. People say problem is in the mind. Problem is not in the mind. Mind is a problem. And that's where, again, yogic wealth. But, and I will look at, Vivekananda has been quoted, we have Adi Shankaracharya being quoted, and we had example of Ashwatthama and Dronacharya coming up. Vivekananda has compared mind with a monkey who's drunk, beaten by a Scorpio, and has a demon of ego. Drunk monkey, beaten by a Scorpio, and has a demon, a devil of ego inside. Now try and control that monkey and see what happens. And that's what our mind is. Mind jumps from here to there to there. We are not able to fix it on one point. And until you are not able to do it, you are not going to enjoy that. Because after that, whatever you are doing is what somebody else is doing. Because my neighbor invested here, I am doing it. Because Mr. Kumar invested somewhere else, I am doing it. Because my colleague said this, so I am doing it. How many people in the audience are willing to take medicine for diabetes because neighbor is taking? What if there is an offer, diabetes ke saath heart ki goli free? We don't do that. But when it comes to investment, I mean, I'll try and give you some real life examples. I had this client, very senior level into corporate, and one day I had called him up to discuss few things, and he was, there was a phone call, and he was busy, so his secretary picked up, and then she was just chatting with me. She said, "Sir is busy, just hold, he'll finish." And then she said that, Gaurav, I haven't told you this, but whatever you are recommending to my boss, I've also been investing. I hope that's fine. I said, look, it's perfectly all right with me. But just remember that what I'm recommending to your boss is to accumulate fund for his daughter's marriage. You yourself, you are not married as yet. So what are you doing? We all have different requirements, but we have never listed them. Mind creates havoc. Money has no emotions. Money creates all possible emotions. Actually, what is a financial plan? Financial plan is actually a spending plan. Let's accept the reality. All financial plans are spending plans. Why do we earn money? To spend. Why do we borrow money? To spend. Why do we invest money? To spend at later date or pass it on to next generation. Which means out of 4 money related activity, which is earning, spending, borrowing and investing, 3 of them, earning, borrowing and investing, is to feed the last activity, which is spending. So all financial goals are eventually spending plans. And if you look at it, all our spendings are based on our emotion. If you look at scriptures, they talk about Kam, Krodh, Moh, Lobh, Mad, all those things that comes up, and that's what actually happens. All our spendings. Let's look at it. Let's look at something like a Maslow's law of hierarchy, or even, and that's what we know much better. Our scriptures also talk about it. As human beings, to satisfy our basic needs of food and water, we require money, because we are going to be purchasing from outside. Understandable. The second set of needs, which is security, is basically food and shelter, for which we also require money. Understandable. If you are animal or if you are any other living being, nature provides for it. Otherwise, we require it. So first 2 needs, we require money, and to that extent, fear about not having money is justifiable. After that, look at the 3rd, 4th, and the 5th stage. The 3rd stage is love and belongingness. Can that come with money? Can we go and purchase love? We can't. The 4th stage, which is self-respect and self-esteem, can that come with money? And the 5th, self-actualization, can that come with money? So 3rd, 4th, and 5th stage is not going to come with money. I'm not against money. Leave aside me, even scriptures are not against money. That's why if scriptures were against money, why would it give money a status of goddess Lakshmi? Why would it say you worship? It wouldn't, right? It would have given a status of a demon. But it's been given a status of goddess Lakshmi because you need to worship it. You need to respect it. In fact, scriptures go on to say that good people should acquire wealth and use it for the benefit of society. If good people don't do it, then evil people will do it, not so good people will do it, and use it for the destruction of mankind and the universe. So it is not against money. It is saying that use money with respect. And I'll talk about that a little later, but see the kind of havoc that mind creates. There is a fear, and it's understandable that as human beings, we have fear of not having money because our first 2 set of requirements come with money. Now, if there is a fear, there's bound to be insecurity. We're bound to feel insecure because if there is no money, what will happen? I have this client who's a very senior retired judge, retired as the Chief Justice of Supreme Court of India, almost 15, 20 years ago. He gets more than ₹1 lakh as pension from government. He has enough wealth. Very respected arbitrator globally. He was on the International Panel of Arbitration. So there's good amount of income that he gets, used to get from there. Now he's bedridden. And one day his daughter called me up. And she's saying, Gaurav, there is a problem. My father is not keeping well. They call him Abba. Abba is not keeping well. And he's been recommended a capsule which is costing about 1,500. One capsule, 1,500 to be taken once a week. Now, total wealth he has at about 7 to 8 crores. Very good amount of money. But he feels that all this expensive medicine, his wealth will erode. Look at the insecurity. He has a pension that's coming. He has this much amount of money. There are no loans. She said if you talk to him, he'll feel good. And I spoke to him and I said, so why are you not doing it? He said, what if I have a prolonged insecurity about money? Thing like ego that comes in, fear, I spoke about, frustration, anger, frustration. When will I have enough money? When will I be able to enjoy money? Now that frustration is so much that you're not enjoying your current state. Ego comes in. I mean, it's like what I have, I compare to others and I'm not enjoying. If you like Mercedes, please pick it up. If you like Audi, please pick it up. But after purchasing that Mercedes or Audi, you're going to look at neighbor's Mercedes or Audi. And if that model is latest, you're going to feel bad about it. But if that model is older one or a smaller version, you're going to feel good about it. Then what's the point? Then you're not enjoying that. Why? Because you had that either ego or you had that frustration. Both these emotions. Yogic wealth is something which is enjoying money or wealth in an absolute manner. And we do so many activities continuously that keeps happening. And then that anger comes in, frustration comes in. Everybody wants financial freedom. And hence we keep chasing money. More money we'll feel we have. Believe me, and you may even want to write this down. Financial freedom will not come with finance and money. Financial freedom will come when you'll have freedom from those thoughts. It's a complete different connotation. The day you have realized that I have these thoughts in mind, and the day you can say those are thoughts and that's a reality, is when you will have financial freedom. Otherwise, at what amount of money you will have financial freedom? 5 lakh, 10 lakh, money wants more. The more money you have, the more you want. And somebody has very rightly said, I think it was Benjamin Franklin, who said there is nothing in nature of money to give you security. The more you have, the more insecure you will feel. Instead of filling a vacuum, it creates one. He is absolutely right. I've seen people with more money, more insecure. So those are the emotions that comes in our mind. Those are the emotions which gets into a situation which doesn't allow us to enjoy wealth. And then what do? We look at our increments in terms of money. How much growth I had compared to last year. What I said and that photograph that I was showing, and put list of things that you want, but do one more thing. Take one more photograph and next to it put down the things that you have. And look at that photograph 2 times a day. So first photograph, what you want is just once a day, but the second photograph, what you have, look at 2 or 3 times. Trust me, your wealth will give you happiness. This entire discussion, taking charge of your financial life, is about y'all to have happiness from your own wealth. And there are a few more tricks that I'll talk about and then I'll end my session. One is when you make investments, if you've taken that photograph and made list of all those points next to it, below that write down all your investments, which investment for what. It's kind of synchronize, align your investments to your goals. And let me give you an example. For example, if your goal is to go on a foreign trip, say next year you want to go to Australia and New Zealand or Fiji or wherever, start a recurring deposit, a regular recurring deposit. Now, if you're doing that recurring deposit in Dhanlakshmi Bank or a Catholic Syrian Bank or whatever bank it is, instead of calling a recurring deposit in Catholic Syrian Bank or a Dhanlakshmi Bank or a State Bank of India or whatever, call it Australia Vacation Recurring Deposit. Just put that and see family's commitment. If you're saving for a daughter's marriage, which is going to come after a decade, and if you're doing an SIP into an equity fund, and Mr. Rao spoke about BSC, Birla Sun Life Equity Fund, since he spoke, the benefit of coming last is you don't have to prepare your speech. I don't have a presentation. I'm just taking everything from my earlier speakers and just narrating it. It's the easiest thing to do. That's why they always put me at last, saying that, he's going to flick from everybody and put it up. So just do that. Birla Sun Life Equity Fund, if that's the fund you're doing SIP, don't say I'm doing into Birla Sun Life Equity Fund. If your daughter's name is Shama, say Shama Marriage Equity Fund, and see the family's commitment. I've had situations where housewives come and say, something, I want to cut down on my vacation, but put that money into Shama Marriage Education Fund. The entire family's commitment is very, very high when you start naming those investments. So if you want to enjoy your own wealth, things that you should be doing is, one, make it a group family activity, take a photograph, keep those pictures there, start naming those investments, enjoy in an absolute manner. Don't compare, because the moment you will compare, either you will be happy, it's like relative. It's in relation to somebody, and you have no idea what that person is going through. In fact, there's this entire thing about the marriages should happen between similar kind of family. Oh, in Hindi they say barabar walon mein shaadi honi chahiye. Now what is this barabar wale? Is it like same amount of wealth? And how do you know whether the person has same wealth or not? Based on what outside thing is. Doesn't make sense. And then you're either going to feel happy or sad, and then your mind is going to go topsy-turvy. They have more money, they have less money. You have no idea what amount of money that you have. It's not the compatibility of groom and the bride that's looked into. It's the compatibility of an outwardly wealth. Don't do that. Make your financial plan or any other activity or any kind of spending, whether it's Mercedes, whether it's Audi, whether it's foreign vacation, whatever that you want, based on your internal condition. That's yogic wealth, looking within. Yoga talks about internal things, and it talks about synchronization of mind, body, and soul. Yogic wealth talks about your dream, your responsibility, your finances, because that's what is going to give you bliss. That's what is going to give you happiness. And last two things. One is, scriptures talk about 4 kinds of wealth. And it's very, very important. One is physical wealth, which is our health. Second is social wealth, which is our relationship with family, spouse, our friends, whatever. Third is emotional wealth, which is a state of mind. And fourth is financial wealth. So physical, social, emotional, and financial. These are 4 wealth that constitutes Goddess Lakshmi. Now, out of these 4, even if one is not proper, you won't be able to enjoy other 3. It's just not possible. 50 crores of portfolio, and you require leave aside ward boy. 50 crores of portfolio, if you have acidity at that point of time, you won't be enjoying wealth. Right? Otherwise, as Guju, I will not be doing that. 50 crores of portfolio and a legal battle going through with, for an ancestral property. Will you be enjoying that money? It doesn't make sense, irrespective of amount of money. So look at all 4 wealth, look at it in an absolute manner, not in relation to something else, because you have no idea whether that person has that kind of money, or even if he has it, other things that he is going through. It's not important. If you do that, that money will not let you enjoy your own wealth. End of the day, it's about enjoying. Goddess Lakshmi gives you peace of mind, serenity. If your wealth is not giving you peace of mind, if it's not giving you serenity, if it's giving you anxiety, if it's giving you frustration, if it's giving you insecurity, there is some kind of toxicity in your body, in your mind. And as long as there is any kind of toxicity, you will not be able to enjoy your wealth. So prayers to Goddess Lakshmi that all of you all get wealth, a kind of wealth which in Sanskrit they say anapagaminim. I'll just do an English translation. I'm not a Sanskrit scholar. But Lakshmi, wealth which comes to your house and then doesn't have legs. It's a very crude way, but what it means is that once it comes to your place, will never leave. Not 1 year, 5 year, 10 year, decade, not generations. It'll just stay. So prayers to Goddess Lakshmi to come to your house, stay with you, give you happiness, give you bliss, and never go away. Thank you.
Now request, if you remember, ladies and gentlemen, we'd given you question slips. I hope all of you have made notes of your questions that you would like to address to our expert panel. We'll be answering most of those questions. In case if any of your questions remain unanswered, please do not worry. The same will be addressed on our website. So my team's coming along collecting all the question slips. Kindly hand over the same to them. In the meanwhile, may I request Mr. Jayashankar Nair, Mr. Bandham Srinivas, Mr. K.S. Rao, Mr. Vishnu Vardhan, and Mr. Gaurav Mashruwala kindly join us on stage for the Q&A session, please.
I'll be reading out the questions one by one. which I address to the speakers. The first question is for both Mr. Jayashankar Nair and Mr. Rao. The question is, in Kerala, chit funds are popular modes of investment. How do you think they compare with mutual funds, especially with regards to tax savings? It's a question from Dr. Satish Bhatt.
Interesting question. Thank you so much. Both are not comparable. Chit funds are not regulated in the country. My request with each one of you, if, like put your money into what is regulated. And some of the chit fund companies which are doing pretty good, yeah, it's fine. You be with them, but it's choice left to you. I mean, mutual funds are fully regulated. Mutual funds, equity is the money which is 1 year and above is a tax-free in your hands, and even less than 1 year is a capital gains at short-term capital gains at a 15%, which is still you can make money if you are paying lesser tax than what you are into the tax bracket. I mean, dividends under the all the mutual funds, whether equity or debt, is tax-free, and if it is a debt mutual funds you are coming in 3 years and above, attracts long-term capital gains, which will substantially reduce your tax burden, and I think mutual funds will outweigh. And there is no history in the last 50 years. I said there is no mutual fund company has closed, but I can give you the companies which is stayed, not the, there is n number of mutual funds which are closed elsewhere. I mean, be careful where you are putting your money. Thank you so much. I will give you one classic example which has happened with one of my professors at IIM Kolkata. He got 36 lakhs as a severance package. He left India and went to Stanford, and he came back after 18 months to India to visit his mother, and he got to see his 36 lakhs is nowhere available to him, and he lost money in one of the chit scams which has happened in the East India. I can also name here, it's Sarada chit scams. No, I'll tell you, there is the UTI 64 again. It is no way people have lost. UTI 64 was running under a government of India under pre-fixed prices. Every month it will be fixed. Your July to June, the NAVs will go up. I mean, the price is fixed, administered pricing mechanism. And at one point, government has taken a call, it will go to the NAV. And post 99, I think 2000, every fund house will follow the net asset value. Yeah. I think we are evolving now, and it's yeah. I think we'll correct on the offline. I can explain you further on that. I think we'll take next question. Sure, we can connect later. Soumya, you can go on.
Yes. Our next question is for Mr. Bandam Srinivasan. The question is divided in two parts. The first one is, once a POA has been signed and given to the DP, can it on a later date be revoked? If so, how? And I think you could answer this one first.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can revoke the POA, submit your POA revocation request in writing to the DP and take an acknowledgement, and DP has to do it because it is a written consent from you for the revocation of the POA. You can always do that.
The second part of it is, why do each AMC insist on a re-KYC when NSDL already has, and why do KYC, where KYC is required every time?
No, it is not required for every time. If once you have done a KYC, it is taken care. In fact, 3 months down the line, you are going, right now even the eKYC which is already come in, we will do at home, you can sit in front of your system and we can do the KYC for you. And the best part is in 2 months down the line, SEBI will come with the guidelines with your Aadhaar, you can get the KYC done. It is not required. Everything will be uniform, one single KYC. Life is going to be much more simpler. Updated could be the reason. That fund house can update that, but at CAMS level and at Carly level, it will automatically done.
Can you put on NSDL, sir? Yeah, any intermediary you can approach and get it done, because today all the KRAs have an interoperability mechanism in place. So irrespective of which service provider you're approaching, it can be updated.
Next question for Mr. Jayashankar is, why do we have to depend on FII inflows to keep our equity markets alive?
Now, that is a pretty interesting question, and I'm glad to say that if you look at last year, the total FII inflow was only close to 20,000 crores. and the domestic institutions had pumped in close to 70,000 crores. So that was a historic high. I mean, last time we saw such an inflow was in 2007, 2008, peak of the rally. So thing is that lot more money is actually getting routed to the domestic institution. My only fear is that if this money doesn't make money, that could be a problem. I mean, that's what we have seen past 1 year. I just hope that this money makes more money. Till that time, FI flows is something which what we believe is that in the recent past, the FI outflow has been more to do with the global economic scenario, particularly the crisis in the Middle East. It was a petrodollar outflow which was happening. So to answer your question, if the domestic institution was not there, probably the carnage in the market would have been much worse. Thankfully, that was there. So we are actually getting getting away from the dependency of FIS slowly. And I think as the NPS comes and things like that, more and more funds come, more and more pension fund money comes, and long-term money comes, I think the dependency will actually go from the FIS. Having said that, I think foreigners were more hopeful about the Indian economy than the Indians were. Probably in the recent past, we are getting more hopeful. It has to do with probably the real interest rates also. I mean, after a very long time, the real interest rate actually turned positive. That means your inflation was lower than the rate of return what you are getting. So that's one aspect why the financial savings are actually increasing also. So that's probably one reason why the domestic flow has been robust. So I don't see going forward we will be too much dependent on the FII flow because domestic money would be there. I just hope that the recent money which has come makes more money because that's very important.
I add little to what Jayashankar said. I think, yeah, the story is true. FIS money was coming over and we were debating on them. Most of us, we not participated. But last 1 year, situation has changed, things have changed. Today, there is a 30,000 crore SIP book runs under the mutual fund industry. It's 2,500 crore per month, which comes to the mutual fund through the SIP route. And we have over 86 lakh of SIP accounts which are there. And half of this book was built over last 1 year. And last 1 year numbers, if you can look at number of mutual fund folios opened in the country is little over 50 lakhs. I think if the demat accounts is 1/3 of that, means most of the investors, retail investors prefer to come through the mutual fund route. And that way I think domestic money will be much bigger. And I mean, let us invite FIS money. And earlier occasions, FIS made money and we lost money. This time let them make or no, we will make money out of it. Thank you.
Next question for you again, Mr. Rao. This is on mutual funds. What is the exit strategy for mutual funds or any market-related product in general?
Exit strategy for fund manager and exit strategy for you. For you, exit strategy, I think Gaurav can handle much better on this question. He can tell you because he being a financial advisor, he has seen. But on the fund manager exit strategy, I can tell you, he will take some tactical calls, he will take some strategic calls, and he will go according to what is the fund investment objective is concerned. Ensuring that he is in the money, ensuring that he meets the redemption, ensuring that, I mean, he will not lose the opportunity. And your exit call, I think I'll leave it to Gaurav on your goal, how you need to do it.
So here it is. To exit a particular mutual fund schemes, there could be three situations. One is, what is your internal situation, what is your financial goal? Second is an economic condition, and third is the fund's performance. And I'll kind of speak on all three. So let's look at first your own situation, which is what predominantly you need to look into. And that's the reason I also spoke about investing based on your financial goals. So say let's take an example. If you're investing in a particular scheme in an equity mutual fund doing an SIP, where you needed that money after a decade for son's education. Now 7 years have passed and you've been doing it regularly. So only 3 years are left. Start moving out because now your goal is only 2 or 3 years away, and hence you need to move out from an equity fund to a debt-based instrument. It could be a debt fund, a fixed deposit, a bond, or whatever it is. So based on your condition, you may want to, you should exit. Nearer the goal, change the first, exit the scheme, and you may want to either put in some different category of mutual fund scheme or some other vehicle. That's number one. let's look at the economic condition. Changing an economic condition should not mean changing the mutual fund scheme, because your requirement is not going to change. If I have my daughter's marriage coming up after 4 months, and just because there is some change happening in China or something happening in Greece or Eurozone or some kind of interest rate movement made by RBI governor, I'm not going to go and tell my daughter, don't get married, I'm not going to fund. My requirement is not going to change, my responsibilities and dreams are not going to change based on any external conditions. And to that extent, please don't make any changes. These kind of ups and downs are part and parcel of life. Only when we don't have clarity about our requirement and our investments are not aligned to our condition, that's the reason we look at outside and use that, our mind uses that as an excuse to redeem. So that's second. Third is the fund managers or a scheme's performance. Now when it comes to that, you may want to make a change, but don't jump. First and foremost, just go back to drawing board and why you invested in that scheme. If that scheme is performing badly, all these schemes in their SID or offer document which was known earlier, they would have mentioned what is the benchmark against which the performance should be looked into. If, for example, if there is a particular scheme which had said that our performance should be measured against BSE Sensex, then just look at that. Is that fund behaving along with the BSE Sensex movement? If Sensex has gone down, has fund gone down? If Sensex has gone up, has fund gone up? As long as that fund is adhering to its philosophy, don't move out, because ups and downs are part and parcel, and that's what will happen. So here are 3 things. One, if it's a change in your internal conditions, please make a change, rebalance the portfolio, asset allocation. If there are any economic conditions, those are not the reasons why you change, because your goals are not going to change. If there are change in the performance of a fund, one, don't jump straight away, wait for 1 or 2 quarters, keep observing. If that fund keeps deviating from its philosophy continuously, then you want to make a change, otherwise don't make a change.
Thank you. Our next question is like a case study in a situation. It's for Mr. Jayashankar as well as Mr. Rao. If one has 25 lakhs to invest into equity now with a horizon of 8 to 10 years, what do you recommend? Equity PMS or equity mutual funds, and why?
I'm always a mutual fund guy. I say mutual fund. It's typically.
I manage the PMS.
And why? I think
Mutual fund. Why I say mutual fund is, you come. Don't put your 25 lakhs tomorrow morning at one go. Give it to the liquid fund. Transfer from the mutual fund to systematic withdrawal plan. You can spread over next 5 months or 6 months, so that you get averaged out and wait for your goal period. I'm sure you are going to. And why I said is, one, you get a risk diversification, and second, when you come to the mutual fund, the tax liability here is much lesser. When vis-a-vis the PMS is concerned, and of course, mutual funds are transparent. It's PMS, yes, some taxation part will come to you more depending on the fund manager doing the calls changes. But I'm not deselling the PMS, and PMS may give, depending on the returns what you are looking at, you can come to the PMS. Rest of the question I think you will I will answer.
I just want to add on that, in the sense that what is the difference as it? What is the difference between a PMS and a mutual fund? If you look at fundamentally, mutual fund will give you a much diversified allocation to your portfolio. PMS will be much more concentrated. The maximum stocks, there's no hard and fast rule, but typically the stock selection would range between the 20 to 22 stocks. So, and mutual fund would range in between the 35 to 100 stocks for that matter, unless it is a very focused fund for that matter. So that is one thing. So depending on how much diversification you want, that's one thing what probably you can look into. Second is you mentioned the money, so 25 lakhs is a minimum for a PMS at this point in time as per the SEBI regulation. Third is the alpha what is been generated in PMS could be much higher compared to a mutual fund because of the concentrated approach of the portfolio. But obviously it comes with a higher risk when you compare to a mutual fund.
Do the portfolio management companies give assured returns?
No, not
assured returns. Gaurav, would you like to take this?
Okay, let me give
Mutual fund versus PMS.
Okay, so I'll probably add one more aspect in doing direct.